1 2 1 2, the place to be. What's up, everybody? How y'all feel out there? I am Frank Red. Hopefully, you will find me tonight in the live edition of In the Dungeon program, and I guess you are doing so. We got a couple of people already locked in the dungeon. I had to edit the show. I actually scheduled it for tomorrow as opposed to tonight, but I figured that out and changed the time. So hopefully you guys will trickle in, you guys and young ladies, whomever you might be. It is a pleasure and an honor to host this show for you and talk about things that I care about. Sports being a big part of my life when I'm not doing serious stuff. This just so happens that this is one of those years that I look a little closer, particularly post Golden State Warriors season. The New York Knicks are on the cusp of doing something that they haven't done in quite a long time, which is make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They take on the Indiana Pacers tomorrow night in Indianapolis. And to be quite honest, if I was a betting person, I would not bet the Knicks to win tomorrow's game. I think the Knicks would win a game 7 at the Garden, I believe on Monday night. I think they play on Monday. If the Knicks win, then they have to play on Sunday. They play the Boston Celtics. So it's going to be interesting. But it's the grit and the grind that I think really separates these teams. Jalen Brunson is clearly the best player in the series. But Indiana's good. They have a future Hall of Fame coach in Rick Carlisle. He's an NBA champion. You would think that he's going to have his team ready to play. The team that has come out and played the hardest has won all the games. The Pacers played pretty well in Game 1 and Game 2, but they didn't finish the job. They kept the door open for the Knicks to open the door and take those victories. And that's what they did. The games in which the Pacers came out and got to it, they won those games. Now, if you're the Indiana Pacers and you're playing on your home court on a Friday night with your star point guard, Tyrese Halliburton, who's an all-star, played in the World Cup. I don't know if he'll be on the Olympic team, but he's an all-star caliber player. He doesn't want to get thoroughly outplayed by Jalen Brunson. He might, but he doesn't want that to happen. Indiana has other players too that need to step up. Pascal Siakam, he's the guy who's going to want a contract in the realm of $140 to $160 million. He wants a max deal. If he wants a max deal, then he got to play like he's a max player. The Knicks are certainly hurting. OG Anunoby's not going to play tomorrow. There's a good chance that he could start the Eastern Conference Finals if the Knicks make it. So everything is pointing towards the Indiana Pacers tying this series at 3-3. But then there is reality. Then there is the hustle. There is the ghost of New York Knickerbocker Pass resonating through the bodies of all of the Knick players. Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, certainly Jalen Brunson. All of those guys, they're playing at a level now that this is bigger than basketball. They're walking with the city on their shoulders. And when you're in the moment like that, anything can happen. So the Knicks could win tomorrow night just because they're the hardest playing team in the NBA, in my opinion. When you look at from start to finish, nobody plays harder than the Knicks, as far as I'm concerned. And Indiana really doesn't know what they have. They're talented. They're well coached. The one guy that you can expect to come out there with the same level of energy every game is TJ McConnell. You know TJ McConnell is going to show up and he's going to give it everything that he has. Miles Turner, we don't know. Miles Turner has been thoroughly outplayed by Isaiah Hartenstein. Achua has played extremely well and in the limited minutes that he has received from Thibodeau. And I think if there's one thing that Tom Thibodeau has learned, and some of the commentators actually have talked about this, is he has to trust his players. I'm not saying going 8, 9 deep, but there's a couple of guys on the bench that have proven, if given the right opportunities, they can perform. So there's no reason to burn the Knicks players out. There are a couple of guys on the bench that Thibodeau needs to go to. All right? But we're going to find out. Tomorrow night in Indianapolis, the New York Knicks have a chance to clinch the series against the Indiana Pacers and take on the vaulted, heavily favored Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. This is like going back to the 90s, man. And I love it. One thing about Knicks fans that I'm proud of, Knicks fans get excited. Yeah, there's some hyperbole, but they know the game. So because they know the game, they really focus on the journey. I mean, the Knicks haven't won a championship since 1973. A large portion of their audience wasn't even born at that point. So just to see these guys go out there and fight every game, not make excuses. To see Jalen Brunson's dad on the bench. I remember when his dad was a player. It's awesome being a Knicks fan right now. No doubt about that. It's interesting. I was listening to the Knicks game a couple of days ago, part of it on the radio. And this kind of encapsulates my point that I'm making now. Did you guys know that John Starks has a car dealership? Why? Because John Starks is revered in New York. Think about that. John Starks played some of the most meaningful minutes as a New York Knicks player over the past 30 years. But it wasn't like he was a multiple-time All-Star. I think he made an All-Star team or two. But he was a guy who had a great story, who embodied the New York culture and certainly what the New York players represented, which was heart and guts. And fans resonated with that. This is the guy who shot, I believe, 3 for 18 against the Houston Rockets in Game 6 of Game 7. But it doesn't matter because they never doubted the guy's heart. And he's one of my favorite Knicks of all time. I remember when John Starks got traded to the Warriors, and I was covering the Warriors, and I told him, I said, John, dude, you're one of my favorite players. And a smile just kind of jumped on his face. And ever since then, we were professional, but we were cool because that's not the first time that he's heard that statement. The way that he played resonated with the fans. When I look at Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, certainly Jalen Brunson is an all-star caliber player. But those guys are a part of New York folklore already, just based on how they play. New Yorkers never forget. They never do. So, we want to talk about tomorrow's game and what the prospects might be of a New York Knicks victory over Indiana, or the Indiana Pacers strapping it up and doing what they should do, which is take it to a Game 7. You should not lose your last game of the year on your home court, particularly when you have the players that Indiana has. And how many injuries do the Knicks have? The starting center's not playing. Julius Randle's not playing. OG Anunoby's not playing. Bogdanovich is not playing. I mean, come on, y'all. If you're an Indiana fan, you're gripping right now. As a Knicks fan, I'm like, yeah, we playing with house money because I know the Knicks going to win Game 7. Do y'all want to go to a Game 7? Selfishly, I would love to see the Knicks play in a game 7. But if they win tomorrow, I'm cool. I can focus on my weekend. I don't have to worry about anything. But game 7 at the Garden Monday night, come on, that's historic. And the formula is not real complicated. The team that has come out and played the hardest has won the games. Also, when you're playing at home, you got to think that your whistle's going to be a little better, particularly if you are aggressive. One of the things I love about the Knicks team is they have adjusted really quickly to the new officiating. They don't bitch and moan. They don't bitch and moan. That's the result of the head coach. That's a result of the players. And as a result, the nation's kind of fell in love with the Knicks. Some of them. Not everybody. I mean, Barkley can't stand the Knicks. And some others don't like them. But a lot of people love the way this team plays. And that Villanova connection definitely has something to do with it. I'm going to say this too. Because I'm a big fan of his. And in terms of talent, I've never seen anybody make a smoother transition than the person I'm going to mention. Draymond Green, I thought, had a horrible weekend as an analyst because it appeared to be a little personal. Now, could he articulate what he was seeing? Absolutely. Draymond's excellent. They don't like to see Draymond coming through those studios because he makes everybody look bad. That's how good he is. He is phenomenal. You know, you're talking about a power forward breaking things down with a point guard's mind and one of the all-time great defensive players in the history of the game. But his take on Gobert fell flat. You know? He said they lost hope. He's not in that locker room. So he really can't definitively say whether or not his team lost hope. They clearly didn't lose hope because they came out tonight and beat the brakes off of Denver. And, you know, that's a take that Stephen A makes, not someone like a Draymond Green who has been in the trenches, who understands what it is to be down 3-1 against the OKC. And slowly but surely pull victory from the mouths of the opposition. He's done that. So I was surprised that he put himself out there like that. And I think he's going to learn from it. I expect him, with whichever network he's on, when his playing career is over, he's excellent. You know, which is why I'm a strong advocate for education. A lot of people are like, hey, education, one and done. I'm one and done. You know what? No one's going to tell you, but education matters. Beyond the millions of dollars that you acquire as a professional athlete, you're going to have a life after your playing career. It doesn't mean that you can't learn by not going to college. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that there is some benefit, some great benefit to going to college, you know, like a Draymond Green being a 4-year player, dealing with adversity, the highs and lows. You hear all of that in his commentary, as far as I'm concerned. With that said, Kobe Bryant's one of the more articulate professional athletes we've ever seen, RIP. And Kobe didn't go to college. But I'm an advocate of young people educating themselves. And I think part of Draymond's excellence is his college experience. I believe that. All right, just to warm you up, I've been talking for a while. We got some folks stepping in the dungeon now. So I want to go out and get some of their comments out there. I really thank you for stepping up in the late night hour. Put my glasses on so I can read this. My man King says, what's up, Frank? Would the Knicks be title contenders if they had Randall and Bogdanovich were healthy? Because without them, they look great. I think Bogdanovich is the guy there because he's able to play a multitude of roles. Julius Randle, I don't think so. I think everybody knows what the Knicks has to do. He's been a good Knick. He served his purpose. But for his benefit and the Knicks, Julius Randle needs to go somewhere where he's going to have an opportunity to be one of the top guys, because that ship has sailed with the Knicks. And to see him fighting that urge to be the guy on the Knicks next year, it's not healthy for anybody, because they have OG Anunoby. They're going to sign him. Jalen is the guy. They're going to try to sign Hartenstein, and you can get good value for Julius Randle. The Sacramento Kings is a team that I think would be a great fit for Julius Randle. They have Domantas Sabonis. They have Keegan Murray. If you put a thirsty player like Julius Randle on that front line, who has an appetite to score, along with De'Aaron Fox, I think that takes the Sacramento Kings to another level. Harrison Barnes and the 13th pick, I think probably could get that done. The Knicks are prime time next year to win their first championship since 1973 next year. But here's the deal. You go back to 2022. Once you get in the game, go play. That's what the Golden State Warriors did. The Warriors stole a championship in 22. And if the Knicks get into the finals this year, it would be the greatest upset in the history of NBA basketball, based on how they look. But never count them out. You never count anybody out once you're in the game. My man Mark Graves. How are the Knicks winning these games? I haven't watched it. Oh, wow. You know what? You see me smiling, Mark. Think of Dante DiVincenzo last year as a member of the Golden State Warriors. Think of Dante's best 2, 3, 4, 5 games as a Warrior. And he had many more than that. He's giving you that and about 20, 30% as a Knick player. Dante has been phenomenal. Josh Hart. I mean, I love Steph Curry. When the Knicks came to the Bay this year, Jalen Brunson gave the whole team that work. And he's just doing that. I mean, the Knicks are a skillful team. They got skilled guards. Their front court players are among the most intelligent defensive players in the league. They don't make stupid fouls. They attack the rim, and they defensive rebound. That's how they're winning. They're winning with guts. They're well coached. Tom Thibodeau coaches like a player from this perspective. He doesn't allow his players to be soft. He doesn't. He teaches physicality. He teaches execution. And to a certain degree, he teaches simplicity. They don't run a real complicated system. And I love that. But they execute. That's how they're winning. They execute down the stretch. Mark, they're winning these close games down the stretch because they're executing. High-level basketball. Jimmy says, Sunday is coming. Sunday is coming to be great. 2 Game 7s. I'm a Knicks fan, and I'm selfishly, no, the Knicks wouldn't play on Sunday. They would play on Monday. If the Knicks win, okay, so you're saying that Dallas and I think Dallas is going to win. I think Dallas is going to win in 6 games Saturday. That Denver game is going to happen on Sunday. If Indiana wins, I think they play on Monday night, not Sunday. I wish it was Sunday. If the Knicks win, they play game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against Boston. So you're going to have a doubleheader on Sunday. But the teams have not totally been solidified yet. Good to be a sports fan, Jimmy. No question about that. What are your thoughts on... Yeah, man, gotta put my glasses on. What are your thoughts on TNT potentially losing inside the NBA? I don't like it. It sucks. Because that first of all, I'm a big fan of Ernie Johnson. Ernie Johnson gets it. Ernie Johnson is a Georgia boy who grew up, with great history and respect for the civil rights movement. Just a loving human being, adopted children, raised children, had children pass, still with the same woman. I mean, I'm just a big Ernie Johnson guy. I think he is what he appears to be on television. I dig that. I've been knowing Kenny Smith for a long, long time also. The way that Kenny Smith is able to be himself, I love. Kenny Smith is another great human being who does a lot of philanthropic stuff that the general public doesn't really know about. But Kenny helps a lot of kids around the nation. He's that guy. Networks love Barkley. I don't hate on Barkley. I think he does good television. I think he laughs at himself, which is good. And I like Shaq as well. I like the fact that they got rough edges, but they smooth those edges out to develop and consistently produce a great show. NBC is going to be buttoned up. ESPN is kind of buttoned up. You're never going to see a show like that again. And I don't know. It's kind of interesting because TNT could make it work. It's the parent company. I think Warner, Paramount, like the corporate entity that says, I don't know if we really want to go in this direction. But they try to make it seem like it's money. I don't think it's money. I think if they have that property, with that show being number one, they could still make a profit. So it'd be disappointing to see them go away because I don't think that there's like this open door policy for all of those guys simply to walk to another network and be on air. I think some people are going to lose if it goes away. Lakers running it down mid. What's up? Agree, these talking heads are getting personal now. Shaq did it with Jokic 3 days ago. Doesn't look good. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. That wasn't a good look for Shaq. It wasn't. Particularly because Jokic came out and played better than he's played all season. I mean, dude just started cooking. And if you watch Jokic and you watch SGA, at this point, Jokic is a better player. And I thought Jokic deserved the MVP this year. I did. Last year, I was very comfortable with Embiid getting it. But this year, I think Jokic deserved it. And professionally, even if Shaq had some different feelings, I think in that moment, it would have been cool to show grace, because he was voted the MVP. He didn't give himself the MVP. So, I don't think that was a good look for Shaq. I think he can grow from it. And if he thinks that, he did everything right and he would do that again, then good for him. But aesthetically, I don't think it was a great look. Glenn Docia, it's always wonderful to have you on the program. Thank you for stepping in. I appreciate you. What's up, Frank? Is it safe to say Brunson is the best little man in the NBA at the moment? I would definitely take him over Steph. Steph, Dame, and Kyrie at the moment. In the offense that he runs, I mean, his usage rate is crazy. I don't think you're going to put Brunson in the Knicks, the Warriors offense as is, and expect him to do the same thing. He's a really, really good player. But remember, the Warriors beat them in 5 games when he was on Dallas. Now, is he better than he was when he was on Dallas? Absolutely. He's gotten better. He's younger. I'll just say, I'm just happy he's my point guard. I'm happy he's the New York Knicks point guard. He's playing for the perfect coach for his skill set. They play a lot of high pick and roll. He has the ball in his hands to drive, get in the mid-range, shoot, and he's very skillful. He talked about the footwork that Jay Wright preached every day in practice, and they practice. When he turns counterclockwise in the lane, to get that release point and shoot that 7, 8, 9 footer, leaning back, you can't stop that shot. You can't. He doesn't have the best form in the world, but his level of concentration and his consistency, he has really good rotation on the shot. What a player, man. What a player. And I'm happy he's on the Knicks. And he's young enough. I mean, you see Kyrie, as great as Kyrie is, there are moments when Kyrie looks tired. And he kind of gets his wind back and he starts doing his thing. But there are moments when Kyrie looks tired. And he's still awesome. Great pickup by Dallas when everybody said it wouldn't work. SG. Frank, the things I really like about you is that you inspire hope and optimism in people who don't feel like they don't have it anymore. Those are kind words. You kind of alluded to that before. I really appreciate it. And I think that's part of one of the gifts that God has given me. I've had adversity in my life, and the commitment that I can make to the people who I love and who love me is to always try to be better. That's it. I don't think that I have, I didn't become who I am mentally overnight. It's taking time, man. You have to live. You have to take some hits. You have to lose people who you love. You have to grow. You have to appreciate the fact that someone like yourself and others are taking their time to listen to me. So it's actually me showing gratitude to you. So thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Key says, I agree, Frank. I didn't like the disrespect by Draymond and Shaq. We are seeing the best players in the world hands down, do his thing. Stop hating. And Gobert making it tough. But ain't nobody can guard Jokic. Here's what I said about Rudy Gobert. And I have a lot of, this is crazy. I have a lot of friends who are coaches. A lot of my friends are coaches. I'm talking coaches at the highest level. NBA, blue blood college programs, right? And a lot of times when you see people in positions, you can't believe that they're in those positions because you can't see yourself there. Think about that. That's deep. When you see famous people doing jobs or having roles in whatever the endeavor is, be it sports, politics, corporate, whatever it is, and you can't believe that they're there, I think what you're saying is, I can't see myself there. And I'm saying that I'm not surprised when my friends have tremendous success because I can see myself there. Circumstances maybe are different, but I expect my friends and the people that I know, because I know them personally, to ascend to the highest level of excellence at whatever they're doing. And I would say to anybody out there listening right now, if you have a mentality when you see someone doing something and you go, how do they do that? I would hope that you've drawn that conclusion. I would hope that you didn't draw that conclusion. I would hope that you wouldn't view yourself in a place where you can't see yourself in that situation. And I could do a better job explaining that, but I think you understand what I'm saying. See yourself in the positions that you aspire to be in. Okay? Now, I wish that I had the opportunity to coach Rudy Gobert in post play, because post play, just like guard play, is a science. Rudy Gobert, here's the irony. He's won Defensive Player of the Year 4 years. He has poor technique. If the ball's in the air, he can react to it. He can block the shot. But fundamentally, he does not have good technique as a post player. I know I can help him. Think about this tonight. They were doubling Jokic. Gobert is 7'4". I've stood next to Gobert. I could teach him literally in a couple of weeks some techniques that will help him even better, help him be even a better defensive player. So, yeah. Did I read this before? Oh, yeah. All right. And she says, Frank, I can't wait. Frank, I can't wait to go back to work because I miss all of my coworkers and they would love to see me back. Okay, I don't know why you're out of work. Hopefully you're not injured or you're not sick. Frank, the things I really like about you, okay. I'm reading stuff forward again. My bad. Kendrick or Drake, who you got? Well, it's it's interesting. Lakers running it down because I'm a rapper. I mean, you did know that, right? I think both guys did extremely well, and here's why. If you look at it strictly as a rap battle, Kendrick won, in my opinion. Kendrick is a better lyricist, in my opinion. The expectations were higher for Kendrick Lamar, as they should be. This dude has not a Pulitzer Prize, but he has one of the distinguished awards for literary excellence. So I thought Kendrick Lamar would do really, really well. His song, Euphoria, I thought was the best song of all the diss tracks. That was my favorite. That's one of the dopest diss tracks that has ever been done, in my opinion. But Drake didn't do bad. The push-up joint, that's a good record, man. I mean, listen, I think Drake won for himself. Drake can take a nice victory lap, just him and his fans, with no opponent, just him and his fans with a trophy running around a track, because he did not get embarrassed. He didn't. And Kendrick affirmed what I think most people knew. This is one of the greatest rappers of all time. So I'm glad it's over. They could have let it go after 2 or 3 songs, as far as I'm concerned. But both guys had some heat, man. And if we can keep it here and have them continue to put out good music, then I think it's going to be viewed as a positive outcome for hip hop. Love to hear your thoughts on it. Jimmy says, it seems like doubling Jokic helped tonight. It did. Why didn't Minnesota do this in the previous games? Well, because they have the Defensive Player of the Year. And if you go back earlier in the series, there have been times in which Rudy Gobert has had some success playing Jokic one-on-one. But they were like, the hell with that. They doubled him tonight, and it worked. Michael Malone is going to make an adjustment to probably get the ball out of Jokic's hands a little bit, get him isolated, pick. He's going to make some adjustments. I can't think of what they might be at this particular point. But Chris Finch's strategy worked tonight. They doubled him, and good for them. Now, Minnesota plays well when they make shots. They made shots tonight. If Minnesota doesn't make shots, then whatever strategy that they try to employ is not going to work. They got to put the ball in the basket. It has to be more than just Anthony Edwards making shots. And tonight they had some guys make some shots. Glendosha says, "What's up, Frank? I know you're big into cinematography and you big into animation as well. If so, the new X-Men 9/7 dropped and it is a masterpiece." Not as much into animation, but I'm not against animation. I'm going to investigate that, Glendocious. Thank you. I appreciate you for mentioning that. I am in the movies. I go to the movies every week. I'll go to the movies this weekend. But yeah, I'm interested in checking out the X-Men 9/7. Okay. All right. Thank you. As she says, "I'm a big fan of the song Humble by Kendrick Lamar, and it reminds me of San Jose State football when I went to games in San Jose when I was attending college, and it brings back so many memories." Yeah, Humble's is a classic. Kendrick, I mean, listen, Kendrick in terms of excellence in rap, I don't think that he is on an island by himself by any stretch of the imagination. He has some really good contemporaries. I like listening, I think, to J. Cole's songs more than anybody, more than Kendrick and more than Drake. And I like to listen to all three of those artists at various times. Drake makes some beautiful songs. You know, he brings that emotion out of you, man. This dude is incredible talent. The reason why I like J. Cole is his writing style is similar to mine, or mine is similar to his. I'm not comparing myself to him. What I'm saying is that he's very clear in his details. Kendrick has some very complicated metaphors that you got to listen to quite a bit to get. J. Cole kind of lays it out there pretty simply, but it resonates, and the messages are really, really strong. Middle Child, the joint he got out now, HYB. I was listening to that song tonight. J. Cole, that dude's a Hall of Famer, man. What a talented artist. I don't really, and I don't have a problem with him going no mas either, because his talent didn't go no mas. You know, when I heard people say, "Oh, this is the worst thing in the world for Jacob," you know, it's almost like he's saying, "Yo, I'm kind of above it. This is not what I want to do with my time." Maybe in retrospect, he might feel a certain way and express it differently. I don't know, but I don't feel any less appreciative of J. Cole. I am just as big a J. Cole fan as I was before he made those statements. I think he's phenomenal. I think Kendrick's great. And Drake, you can't really argue with the finished product. He has a team, he does some writing, but the finished product, what he's been able to do in the music industry is pretty impressive. No doubt about that. Key says, "Hey Frank, who was your favorite college basketball?" Hey Frank, okay, who was your favorite college basketball team? Mine was UNLV when they had LJ, Greg Anthony, Stacey Augmon. I miss the good old days of college basketball. Georgetown Hoyas. The Georgetown Hoyas, when they had the great John Thompson as a coach. I remember having an opportunity to talk to Coach Thompson because he did some broadcasting after his playing career was over, and I was fortunate enough to talk to him after a game up in Sacramento. I think the Kings were playing somebody, and he was walking to his limousine. At that point, he was older, slowly walking. I said, Coach Thompson, I'm such and such. I just want to tell you that you were really one of my idols, and I wish I could have played for you. He goes, where'd you play, big fella? I said, I played at Fordham. And he said, wow, that's a great school. And we kind of had a moment. But I think every East Coast black kid during that particular time wanted to play for Georgetown because of Coach Thompson. Now, with that said, I got it right, man. I mean, a lot of people now, they go to 19 colleges and they transfer in this. I didn't know what I was doing when I chose Fordham, the Fordham Rams. I chose the right college. I would do it again. Great universities. Some of my best friends in the world I met at Fordham. Played for a Hall of Fame coach in Tom Penders, who is a phenomenal coach. I'm still in contact with him to this day. Many famous broadcasters that I met when I was at school are now working in the industry, and just a ton of coaches. I don't want to bore you. I put it out there before. There's so many former Fordham players and coaches who are doing big things now. I'll just Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy was an assistant coach at Fordham. He's just one guy, but there's so many. So Georgetown was my team growing up. I was fortunate enough to go to Fordham University. I chose Fordham, and it worked out well for me. So thank you for asking. And UNLV, Larry Johnson, listen, Keys, if Larry Johnson had not gotten hurt, people don't know how good a player this guy was, how dominating he was. Wow. Grandmama was off the chain. SG says, my top rappers are 50 Cent, Eminem, Ice Cube, DMX, and Kendrick Lamar. It's a good list. Lakers said J. Cole's Forest Drive album is my favorite. Yeah, man. I love the fact that J. Cole legitimately plays basketball too. Went to St. John's. I think he was he was an invited walk-on. So he played ball. Good player. I can identify with that, being a college player myself and having him distinguish himself in such an incredible manner like he has as an artist. Yeah, I'm big on J. Cole, man. J. Cole's incredible. What a talent. As she said, I love the song Party Up by DMX, which is featured on like Mike's movies. Yeah. Not one of my favorite DMX songs, but I am a big DMX guy. He's had so many hits, and he lived his life, man. He lived his life on his terms. R.I.P. DMX. We never know where we're going to go because you guys and ladies just kind of drive the bus wherever you want to go. And I just go there. It's all good. Speaks to our well-roundedness. I wanted to sneak in also. I'm big on Caitlin Clark. In 3 years, she will be one of the best players in the WNBA. But when some of the OGs, the Tarasis of the world, the Asia Wilsons of the world spoke to, and even the guard from UConn, who's the owner of the Seattle Storm right now, part owner, Sue Bird. There you go. When these great players spoke to the fact that Caitlin was going to go through a transition, people perceived it as being hate. And I'm just like, you know what? That wasn't hate. And if you're a real fan of Caitlin Clark, take a step back and become an educated fan, and not just a fan. This is not college. This is professional basketball. They got to get on planes. They got to practice. They're playing against grown women who train year round, who play year round. It's going to take some time. You know, listen to the message, not always how it sounds to your ears. Caitlin, after the season's over, she's going to go through a weight training program like she's never gone through in her life. Her first game, she was being guarded by Alyssa Thomas, the best defensive player in the WNBA, a perennial all-star, who's legit 6 foot, 6'1", probably about 175, quick as a cat. So Caitlin's going to have some games this year when she put 30 on the board. But she's going to have some games like the first couple where she struggled because the competition is really good. It's all good. You know, I'm a big fan of hers. Perfect timing. Lakers says thoughts on the WNBA blowing up. Caitlin Clark, 2.5 million debut. Lakers, I gotta tell you, man. I was on board real early. I think part of the allure of this program is when people listen to me, they know that I'm genuine about what I'm talking about. And I am a major WNBA fan and a fan of basketball. So I'm obviously a fan of women's basketball. I go back, man. I'm a big fan of, like, I read some of Val Whiting's comments on X. I was a big fan of hers when she was at Stanford. Sabrina Ionescu is probably my favorite player. I love Chelsea Plum's swag. Aja Wilson is going to go down as one of the greatest players of all time. I love it, man. I can't wait till WNBA players are making $1 million a year. I love it. I love it. Imagine now raising a young child who's a girl who says, you know, Dad, Mom, I want to play basketball and I one day want to do this for a living. We're in a different time now. You know, I'm happy that the Warriors have a WNBA team, the Valkyries. That's going to be outstanding. So I'm big on the WNBA. If they had a 3-point contest during the 2025 All-Star game, Stephen and Sabrina Ionescu should be one team, and Caitlin and Clay should be on another team. I don't really want to see Stephen Curry do that again. I mean, he did his thing, man. Let somebody else do it. I mean, we don't always have to. I mean, when are we going to get to the point where we just acknowledge great shooters? And it's not, oh, she's a woman, she shoots as well as a man, or he lost to a woman. We need to, I mean, stop it. Go to a woman's workout, all right? Go to a 2-hour woman's workout and see that she's not doing anything that guys don't do, or the guys are not doing anything that the women don't do. They work their asses off. What do you think Juju Watkins is going to do at the pro level? Are you kidding me right now? They're good. They're talented. Thoughts on the 102-66 blowout win? I think you got that wrong. I don't think the Fever won. No, they didn't. The Fever lost. Okay, so you got it wrong. When you lose by that many points, you've given up. I'm sad to say that. And there was some rumblings early on about the Indiana Fever's coach. I wouldn't be buying any real estate anytime soon. She got a tough job. She has a really tough job. When you lose by that many points, you've given up. Consciously or unconsciously, you mailed it in. And they can't have that. They can't have sellouts losing by 40 points. That can't happen. So that was a bad look. Thoughts on Breanna Stewart, who led with 31 points. I mean, Breanna Stewart is one of the best players in the world. You know? Not surprising. Knicks Pacers game 7 would be Sunday. Oh, really? According to ESPN. Oh, thank you, Jimmy. I love that. Because I'll be locked tight. And obviously doing a show on Sunday night. So that'd be great, man. I'm not going to be disappointed if the Knicks win tomorrow. And I assume if the Knicks win, they still play game 1 against Boston on Sunday also, I would assume. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. I love looking at Madison Square Garden, though, with all those loyal Knicks fans in attendance. I love it. If and when the Knicks win a championship, I don't think the city could actually deal with it. It's gonna be like people crying. I mean, not in terms of mass, but I don't know. But that party, that event would be bigger than New Year's Rockin' Eve if the Knicks won a championship. Knicks fans, I mean, you're talking about millions of people who love the Knicks. I mean, we were born to be Knicks fans. Look at my background. Look at my cup. If you ask me about a Knicks player, I could probably give you a pretty good dissertation about that player. That's how big a fan I am. And the coaches. John Starks is one of my favorite Knicks players of all time, by the way. SG, I'm not going to answer the question about the WNBA. I'm not, I mean, you know, that's not what we're doing. All right, I don't mind talking about the WNBA if it's topical, but to ask me who's going to win between two random teams, no, I'm not going to answer that question. The Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 7. That's scary. Because although I'm talking about wanting to see the Knicks play in Game 7 at Madison Square Garden, I wouldn't have a problem with them winning tomorrow night. Let's be clear. But when you play in a Game 7, anybody can win. If somehow miraculously the Minnesota Timberwolves go into Denver and shock the Nuggets and win that series, you're talking about a colossal failure. 3-time MVP of the league this year, and you lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves? That's a bad look. That's a real bad look. And, you know, listen to the press conferences. Michael Malone knows. This dude is an NBA lifer. He knows. He's seen everything. He knows that there's nothing to say that this is a slam dunk. He knows that. He has guys on his team that are not playing well. Some of them are not playing well. Some are injured. Jokic is the only one who's playing really well. And Aaron Gordon is playing well also. Although he didn't have a great game tonight. But Porter Jr. is not playing well. KCP has had his moments. And, you know, you got two Jamals. You got good Jamal and you got bad Jamal. You don't really know which one's going to show up on Sunday. From Minnesota's perspective, they can just play loose. Let it all hang out. Nobody has them winning. They're ahead of schedule. Imagine taking down the reigning champions without a functional point guard. Everybody admires Michael Conley Jr., and he's serviceable, but after 16, 17 years, I don't think you would look at Michael Conley Jr. and say, you know what, that's a starting championship caliber point guard. What he is a good, solid NBA player. But they got to upgrade real quick at the point guard position. In spite of that, if they could beat Denver and move on to the Western Conference Finals, talk about an accomplishment. That'd be outstanding. Thoughts on Nika Mule? I'm a big time Nika Mule fan. Love her. Already one of the best defenders in the WNBA. I love her origin story, coming from where she comes from. She's just tough, man. She's beautiful. She's tough. She really loves basketball. She's gracious. Great family. I wish her nothing but the best. Also wanted to get a golf take in here. For those who don't know, I was a caddy for over 10 years, so I know golf well. I don't follow it as much now because the personalities are not all that interesting to me. But the point I wanted to make is really about Tiger Woods. I don't like how networks cover Tiger Woods. It's almost like they don't want him to be there. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. The ESPN tag for Tiger Woods was Tiger Woods falters down the stretch. First of all, consider the backstory. This is a guy who might have gotten his leg chopped off. He's not even ranked in the top 200 or 300. And yet, in the Masters, he made the cut. And in the PGA this year, he's going to make the cut if he has a decent round tomorrow. As opposed to saying Tiger Woods falters down the stretch, they could have said Tiger Woods grinded his way into a respectable 1 over par in the opening round of this year's PGA. Sounds a lot different, right? And a lot better. Dude is 1 over par. You know how many great players are below Tiger Woods at this point? I mean, I don't like the way they cover Tiger Woods. I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't look at the scores. I look at Tiger's body. Tiger's body is getting better. He played all 4 rounds in the Masters. If he makes the cut, I just want to see him play 4 rounds. That's all I want to see. I think Tiger Woods is ultimately going to win another major. I mean, if he's healthy enough, he's never going to be healthy. He's never going to be what he was in his prime or either pain-free. I don't believe that. But if he gets to the point where he can endure a certain level of pain and still be effective, I think he's going to win a major. I do. His swing is still pristine. Nobody can grip it and focus like him. So I don't know if you guys have noticed that or you ladies have noticed that, but I don't like how the networks cover Tiger Woods. It's almost like they hate that he's still popular. They hate that he's still the highest paid guy. Really upsets me because those network golf analysts, announcers, they guard those people like gold at Fort Knox. They need more diversity in golf. They need a lot more diversity. That's probably why I don't watch it as much, because I don't find it very interesting. I know the game, but I see the politics of golf. Golf has the worst politics. It really does. Charles Barkley plays golf. I don't know how well he knows golf, but it might be interesting to see Charles doing some spot duty as an analyst because they couldn't control the guy. No telling what he might say. I just want some truth tellers in the booth. And, you know, it's all performative. Mark says, how is Tiger's putting? That is where Tiger made his money. You're right. And probably not great, Mark, because if his putting was good, then he would probably be 5 or 6 under par. But golf is a game that you master in stages. He's putting his game together now. He's clearly not putting on the level as Scheffler and even McIlroy and some of these other really, really talented players. But he's stroking it, though. He's hitting the ball very, very well. And he's hitting it straight. And once he's getting pretty close to the point where he can do that. He can place the ball where he wants to place it. Then I think he's going to move on and at some point maybe get his short game back together because he certainly doesn't have it. You're right. I totally agree with you. SG, why are you a big fan of Tiger? Tiger's one of my favorite golfers. Why? I'm not saying he shouldn't be. I just want to know why. What is it about Tiger that you like? Last thing I want to talk about is JJ Redick, who has a legitimate shot at becoming the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm going to speak on that, but I want to get Keys in here first. Frank, how you feel about Kuminga? He seems to be our only player we could trade and get someone to help Steph. Yeah, I'm not one of these people who are just steadfast on I wouldn't trade him. However, I like him a lot. I like Kuminga. When you look at his rise as a player, in year 3, he averaged 16 points a game. He shot over 50% from the field, and he shot over 70% from the free throw line. So he is ascending, man. Think about this. 3 years ago, the Warriors are not going to say it now, but they probably would have drafted Josh Giddey over Jonathan Kuminga. No, we would have never done that. What are you talking about, Red? No way in hell. Okay, all right. I'm not saying everybody, but there were some people who I think liked Josh Giddey more than Jonathan Kuminga. No one's going to admit that now. Jonathan Kuminga, to me, if he can overcome his immaturity, his lack of maturity moments, particularly with referees, he has a chance to be an all-star caliber player. So, and someone who people want to see. Whenever you hear him talk, he's an engaging young man that seemingly loves basketball. And what I've been able to hone in on is he's gotten better every summer. So whatever he's doing with his workout, people, it's working. He's gotten better every summer, significantly. So if you got a player out there that you go, yo, what do you think of this guy? I'll listen. I would love to see the Warriors find a way to get Reed Sheppard. I think Reed Sheppard would be a wonderful successor to Stephen Curry. And if I could get Reed, if I could get Reed Sheppard and like Kevin Johnson in a package for Kuminga, I would probably do that. You know, people probably say, Red, you crazy, you're going to be fired. But if I could get, San Antonio's not going to, they're not going to give up Vassell. They're not giving him up. But if they could give up Kevin Johnson and an opportunity to draft Reed Sheppard for Jonathan Kuminga, I think that highly of Reed Sheppard. I do. That was a very a very great, and I'm gonna say a very good comical impression, and it made me laugh. I have my moments. I'm not ready to do stand up anytime soon, but I have my moments. All right. We've lined it up pretty good, y'all. This is going to be an incredible weekend of sports. I bang on Luka sometimes when he's crying to referees, and I sent out a message, a tweet yesterday, just giving him all the props in the world because I thought he was outstanding against OKC. His attitude on the court, his decorum, I thought was what it should be, and worthy of someone being mentioned as a potential MVP. But you got to conduct yourself like that, man. So good look for Luka. If he can continue to be the leader of that team and be the consummate professional that I think everybody wants him to be, there's no telling what this young man can accomplish, especially when you have a running mate like a Kyrie and a head coach like a Jason Kidd. So definitely want to big him up. And I think that's going to be it. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I might hop on tomorrow night, depending upon how the Knicks game turns out. I'm certainly going to do a show on Sunday night. So be on the lookout for that. This is becoming fun. And I'm just going to tell you guys, there was a milestone. The last show that I did on X actually got over 100 links. So all because of you. Things are getting better and improving. That's important. That's important also. Not the most important thing, but I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you. Mark says, do you think Luka acts like his owner is why he complains a lot? I think Mark Cuban has calmed down a lot from where he was when he came into the league. Even saying that, I think that they can probably do a lot to challenge Luka to be his best self. Even Mark. Now, they're kind of in an interesting situation now because Mark is not the governor anymore. He doesn't own the team anymore. Still an integral part of that organization, still owns a part of the team, but they got new ownership now. Mark's running it. So I don't know how to answer that, Mark. I think this stems back from when Luka was really, really young, playing over in Europe and being this prodigy and just getting away with a lot of stuff and not understanding the NBA culture. Part of the NBA's greatness has been the standard that they have held their players to. All of them, all of their players, all of the great players have had to live up to a standard when it comes to conduct on the court. I love that about the NBA. Mo says, man, I can't believe the Wolves whooped them that bad. Laugh out loud. I didn't watch too much of it, but damn, that was bad. No way they lose Game 7. Who is they? Are you talking the Nuggets? Who you talking about, Mo? Yo, the Nuggets can't lose. If they lose Game 7 at home, the season is a failure. It is an absolute failure. And, all bets are off. There's major changes. Really? The Wolves can't lose. All right. You know what? ESPN is not going to be, ESPN or TNT, whoever has that game, they won't be upset, I don't think, because that would probably mean that Anthony Edwards has had another coming out party. And he is reaching heights that a lot of folks didn't think he could reach at this early stage of his career. So we'll see. All right. Hit the like button if you have not done so thus far. I really appreciate you. Thank you. One of the last ones, Jimmy says, I think this big win for the Wolves could come back to bite them in Game 7. I'm not picking against Denver on their home court in Game 7. I'm not doing that. Could they lose? Absolutely. Yes, they could. I wouldn't bet against them, but they could lose. We're going to find out what happens. All right? Follow me at Big Frank Red on X if you don't already do so. Hit the like button for the show, In the Dungeon Show. Subscribe if you don't currently subscribe. And once again, thank you for checking me out. I'm going to do my thing and get out of here. Success in getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. Maybe I'll check you all out tomorrow and definitely Sunday night. Until then, peace. Good night, everybody.